My wife said, "It's just work stress. You're paranoid." I believed her until $5,000 disappeared and the flight she canceled took off without her. The photos the PI sent made me realize who she was really traveling with. I never thought I'd be the kind of guy who hires a private investigator. I've always trusted my wife, really trusted her. We'd been together for 7 years, married for 4, and though life had gotten busy, I thought we were solid. She'd been distant lately. Shorter replies. Longer work hours. "It's just stress," she said, rubbing her temples one night when I asked why she'd been sleeping on the couch after her late shifts. I believed her. I really did. Until the money disappeared. $5,000. Gone from our joint savings account. No note. No explanation. No receipt. When I asked her, she barely looked up from her phone. "Oh, that? Work trip deposit. I'll get reimbursed next week." I wanted to ask more, but she threw her line like a dagger. "What? Are you spying on me now?" And that tone stuck in my head for days. Then something strange happened. The night before her work trip, she showed me a flight confirmation. I noticed the date, tomorrow. The next evening, I checked online, just to ease my mind, and saw something that made my stomach drop. The flight wasn't canceled. It departed on time, and she wasn't on it. Her phone went straight to voicemail. Her office said she was off the grid for the weekend. So I made the call I never thought I'd make. A friend of mine, ex-cop, now a private investigator, owed me a favor. I gave him everything: her full name, her car, her supposed hotel. 2 days later, I got an email with a simple subject line: "You'll want to sit down before you open this." Inside were 7 photos, and the first one nearly stopped my heart. There she was, my wife, poolside at a resort 3 states away, smiling, laughing, with someone I recognized instantly. My younger brother. When I first saw those photos, I thought I was hallucinating. The man sitting beside her, leaning back in that pool chair, drink in hand, his arm casually draped behind her shoulders. That was Ethan. My younger brother. Ethan, who'd lived with us for 6 months after his divorce. Ethan, who'd helped her with car repairs while I worked weekends. Ethan, who told me, "Man, you're lucky to have her. She really cares about you." I stared at the pictures for an hour. I zoomed in until I could see her necklace, the one I gave her for our 3rd anniversary. In another photo, they were at a dinner table. She was laughing at something he said, hand resting on his wrist. In the last one, they were kissing in the open, no hesitation, no guilt. It was the kind of betrayal that makes your world go quiet. No yelling, no tears, just static. I didn't confront her. Not right away. I didn't even call him. I forwarded the photos to my private email, printed a few copies, then deleted the originals from my phone. I needed to think, not react. When she came home 3 days later, she acted exhausted, fake yawning, kicking off her shoes, saying how draining the corporate trip had been. She smelled like coconut sunscreen, not the sterile soap from her office. I asked casually, "How was the flight? Glad they didn't cancel again." She froze for just half a second, barely noticeable, but I caught it. Then came the fake laugh. "Yeah, yeah, good thing they fixed it. Total nightmare, though. I'm just happy to be back." I smiled and handed her a glass of wine. "You deserve it." She drank it like she hadn't a care in the world. Over the next week, I started building the puzzle, piece by piece. I pulled her text logs from our shared iCloud, checked timestamps, and matched them to Ethan's old call records. He'd once used our Wi-Fi. Big mistake. I didn't even need spyware. Their stupidity was its own evidence. She'd been seeing him for nearly 8 months. 8 months. Half of that time, Ethan was still staying in our guest room. The first message I found between them made me physically nauseous. Her. "He's asleep already. Come by in 15. Back door's open." Him. "You sure?" Her. "He never wakes up." That was time-stamped at 11:37 p.m., the same night I'd been up late working on a presentation for her birthday trip to Maui. The irony burned. But I wasn't about to blow everything up emotionally. I had something better: control. I called a lawyer the next morning, explained everything, sent the files, and followed his advice to the letter. He told me, "Don't confront them. Don't threaten. Don't tip her off. Just prepare." So that's what I did. I moved $40,000 from our joint account into a separate one in my name. My earnings, legally protected. I transferred the house deed copies, insurance, and key documents to a secure folder at my office. I even installed a discreet home camera system, just in case she tried to pull a he got violent act later. The next week, she was back to her overtime schedule, smiling again, texting a little too quickly when she thought I wasn't watching. I played my role, the oblivious husband, calm, steady, predictable, until Saturday night. I invited Ethan over for dinner, told him I wanted to clear the air, that I missed him and maybe we could patch things up. He agreed instantly, even said, "Man, it's about time." I hated that we drifted. My wife smiled too brightly when she heard he was coming. Of course she did. That night, I cooked steak, poured wine, talked about football and work. I could almost pretend it was normal, except for the small detail that I knew everything. And when she left the room to grab dessert, I looked my brother straight in the eyes and said, "So, how was the resort?" He froze, blinked, smiled, that kind of fake grin you see when someone's caught, but doesn't know how much you know. "What are you talking about?" I pulled out my phone and set it on the table. 7 photos. Silence. His face drained of color. Then hers, when she walked back in and saw the screen. No yelling. No screaming. Just 2 people realizing their lives had just imploded, and I was calm enough to make sure it stayed that way. I stood up, placed my keys on the counter, and said, "You two deserve each other. I'll be in touch through my lawyer." And I walked out. No slamming doors. No final words. Just peace. Because I already had something they didn't, a plan. Update 1. It's been 3 weeks since that dinner. 3 surreal, quiet, bureaucratic weeks. The first 2 days after I left were peaceful, unnervingly so. I stayed at a short-term rental downtown, slept for 12 hours straight, and thought maybe, just maybe, it was over. But people like her, people like them, don't let go easily. Day 3, the text started. First it was, "We need to talk." Then, "You don't understand. It's not what you think." Then came the emotional bombs. "I never meant to hurt you. You've always been distant. I just needed someone to listen. It's not fair that you're acting like I'm a monster." I didn't reply to a single one. Not because I wasn't tempted, I was, but because my lawyer warned me. Every word you say is ammunition. Let her talk. Let her write. Let her dig. So I let her dig. Meanwhile, Ethan texted me too. Or tried to. He wrote, "It's complicated, man." And "She came on to me first," as if that made any difference. I blocked him after screenshotting every single message. By week 2, her tone shifted. The guilt act turned into outrage. Suddenly, I was the controlling husband, the spy, the emotionally abusive partner who drove her to seek comfort. She even showed up at my office. I saw her through the glass doors, sunglasses, trembling hands, that desperate, "We can fix this" look, and I just turned and walked away. My boss, who knew everything by then, had security escort her out. That same day, my lawyer called with something big. He'd received an email from her attorney. She was filing for divorce on the grounds of irreconcilable differences. I laughed. For the first time in weeks, I laughed out loud. Because she wasn't the one holding the cards anymore. I was. Remember that $5,000 she took? We traced it. She'd wired it to a joint account with Ethan, an account he opened using his old address, which still had my last name listed as emergency contact from when we shared a lease years ago. Sloppy doesn't even begin to cover it. I gave my lawyer the entire file, screenshots, bank statements, timestamps, messages. He built a timeline so tight, it looked like a case study in infidelity and financial misconduct. And then we discovered something else. That work trip? It was billed to her company card, meaning she'd used corporate funds to book a personal getaway with Ethan. Corporate fraud. That word alone changed everything. I didn't have to destroy her life. She did it herself. I just had to tell the truth to the right people. Her company launched an internal audit. Ethan was questioned by HR at his own firm because of a background check issue that came up. Apparently, one of the resort's charge to the card was also connected to a team-building event her office couldn't account for. Within a week, she was suspended. Ethan was terminated. And me? I kept showing up to work. Calm. Professional. My colleague said I looked different. Lighter, someone said. But the truth is, I didn't feel lighter. I felt empty. Because the funny thing about winning is that it doesn't always feel like victory. There was one last twist, though, something that still makes my stomach knot when I think about it. The private investigator reached out again. Said he had a few extra files he hadn't sent earlier. Backup camera angles, timestamps, something about a safe deposit box. When I opened them, I found photos from before the affair supposedly began, at least a month earlier, which means the first lie came sooner than I ever thought. And the truth? I think she'd been planning her exit long before I ever noticed. Final update that it's been 6 months now. 6 long, slow, sobering months. The divorce is finalized. The house is mine. The joint accounts are closed. And for the first time in years, I can finally say that I sleep through the night. But peace didn't come the way I imagined. It didn't come with justice or revenge or any kind of cinematic closure. It came quietly, one document, one email, one empty room at a time. The court hearings were cold. We barely looked at each other. Her lawyer tried everything: emotional distress, financial control, privacy invasion. But my attorney had receipts for every accusation. Literal receipts, printouts, signatures, timestamps. When the corporate fraud evidence surfaced, her side dropped half their arguments overnight. She signed the settlement after 3 hearings. No spousal support, no claims to the property, just a mutual agreement to walk away. The only condition I made was that Ethan's name be added to the corporate report as her accomplice in misuse of funds. Not out of spite, out of principle. I'll never forget her expression when the judge asked, "Do you both understand the terms of this dissolution?" She didn't cry. She didn't beg. She just looked small, like someone who'd built a world on a lie and was finally watching it burn down, brick by brick. When it was over, I didn't feel triumphant. I felt tired. Ethan tried to contact me 2 months later. He sent an email that said, "Man, I screwed up. I know you hate me, but I'm in a bad place." She's gone. She's blaming me for everything. I lost my job, my apartment. I just want to explain. I didn't reply. Not out of anger. Out of complete indifference. There's a point where hate fades into something worse: disinterest. I heard from a mutual friend that she'd moved back with her parents. Apparently, she's been working odd jobs, keeping her head down, avoiding town gossip. Her parents called me once, awkwardly, gently, to check how I was holding up. I told them the truth. I'm okay. I'm healing. And I wish her peace, but I don't ever want to hear her name again. They understood. What I didn't expect was the guilt. Not for exposing her, she earned that, but for realizing how much of myself I'd lost trying to trust her. There's this strange emptiness that follows betrayal. You start doubting every memory, every kind word, every shared morning that used to mean something. You replay moments in your head, the way she used to laugh, the way she'd touch your shoulder, and wonder, was she already gone then? I deleted all the photos, but sometimes I still find her hair in old jackets, her handwriting on a grocery list. Ghosts of a life that technically ended, but somehow lingers. I go to therapy now, every Thursday at 7 p.m. It's helped me see that what I lost wasn't just her. It was the illusion of who I thought I was with her. The dependable husband, the forgiving partner, the one who believed that love automatically meant honesty. Now I know better. Love isn't trust without evidence. Love is trust earned and kept. Last week, I took a trip. Not far, just to the coast. The same resort chain where she'd gone with my brother, ironically. I wanted to prove to myself that the place, the memories, the scene of the crime, didn't control me anymore. I walked past couples by the pool. Laughter, clinking glasses, the same sun, the same smell of salt and sunscreen. And I felt nothing. Just the wind. Just freedom. I sat by the ocean, closed my eyes, and thought of the man I used to be. Anxious, blind, desperate for reassurance. He's gone. The new me doesn't need to spy, or prove, or cling. He observes, acts, and lets go. As I checked out the next morning, I got a message request. From her. The preview line said, "I just want to explain everything." I stared at it for a minute, then archived it without opening. That, I think, was my real victory. Because sometimes, closure isn't a conversation. It's the silence that follows when you finally stop caring. Epilogue. I donated the PI's retainer fee to a local shelter that helps people start over after divorce. I bought a new bed, new sheets, even a new coffee mug, small, quiet symbols of starting fresh. And when people ask what happened, I just say, I had to lose everything I thought I wanted to realize what I truly needed. Peace. Not revenge. Not validation. Just peace. The kind that comes after the storm, when you finally stopped looking back.